agenda emailed?
All right, we are live.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the May 18th meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners. We have a quorum. We have Commissioner Collier-Clemens, Commissioner Straniti, and Mayor Rilling. There are instructions. Members of the public can call in and listen to the meeting. They will not be able to speak or see any of the meeting participants. Each meeting will use a unique meeting webinar. Members of the public who wish to provide live comments will need to register in advance. Do we have anybody registered in advance for comments?
That I don't know.
No, no one. Jen Belinsky used her email and did not get anybody contacting her.
Okay.
All right,
So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of February 24th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I move approval.
Commissioner Collier-Clemens moves approval. Are there any corrections, deletions, omissions? Hearing none, all in favor, Commissioner Straniti,
Aye.
Commissioner Collier-Clemens,
Aye.
Mayor Rilling, aye. Chief, recognition.
Mayor, one thing, we have David Orr as an attendee. Should he be brought over to a panelist or?
He can.
Okay,
So now we have public comment. We don't have any public comment that I can see or know of.
we just have Harold Corbin. I don't know if Mr. Corbin would like to speak. Raise your hand electronically, please. Yes, he has raised his hand.
Okay. Mr. Coben.
Corbin, I'm sorry.
Hi all, just saying hello, just checking in. Good to see everybody. That's all.
Hi, Harold.
Can you
Hi.
see us? We can't see you.
Oh, let me see. Turn my camera off. So you have to take my word for it. I look the same.
Well,
I
we
didn't grow-
we recognize your voice. We know it's you.
I didn't grow a beard like some people.
Aha, is that? Okay, so recognition. February Officers of the Month, David Bush and Officer George Daly. Let's do those first, Chief.
Okay, yeah, first for February, Officer of the Month. On February 8th, the officers were dispatched to a report of a person threatening to jump onto the highway from the Fairfield Avenue overpass on I-95. The officers responded. They had state police stop traffic below, and then they conducted a intervention, so to speak, with the individual. They spoke to him for several minutes to try to calm him and eventually did talk him out of jumping. Were able to grab him, reached over and pulled him back, and then got him medical attention. Based on the information that we have, it's clear that they probably prevented him from jumping and also risked their own safety by reaching out over the railing to pull the individual back to safety. So for that, we felt they were deserving of Officers of the Month for February 2020.
Well, that's an exceptional job, and our congratulations to the officers. I'm sure that they also reached out to get the individual some assistance to help with the problems that he or she may have had.
Yes.
Commissioner Clemens, Commissioner Straniti.
Congratulations, great job for the officers.
An excellent job as always.
And police officers do a wide variety of services to their community, and something like this certainly shows that their training and experience helps tremendously when they're confronted with something that may seem a little bit unusual. Yeah. Okay, April Officers of the Month, Detective John Toronto and Detective Fitzmaurice.
Yeah, this was an interesting case. There was a 7-year-old individual that was reported missing. It turned out that he had been stopped by the state police for erratic driving, was brought to Norwalk Hospital. It turned out that he had dementia. He left Norwalk Hospital after he was treated and disappeared. The detectives then looked at surveillance video. They also looked at surveillance video from the buses that left that area and were able to track him to Bridgeport, to an area in Bridgeport, which they then searched. And eventually, about 6 hours after they started looking, they found him in Bridgeport, and he was returned to his family safe and sound. They definitely went above and beyond and used a lot of interesting investigatory techniques to locate this individual who was obviously stressed. He didn't know where he was. And for that, we felt that they both deserved Officers of the Month for April. This occurred on April 2nd.
I certainly put in a lot of time and energy on this, and, you know, it goes to show that they had that stick-to-itness that might not necessarily be the case. Sometimes you get a case like this, and but they were, again, showed their persistence and their diligence, and brought this to a successful conclusion. So my congratulations, commissioners.
And my congratulations also to those officers that were concerned with, you know, the person themselves, and also the feelings of the family of not knowing where their loved one was. And I commend them highly.
Yeah, I echo that, and congratulations to the officers, and thank you for their fine work. And it's really nice to hear there was a happy ending. They were able to return the gentleman to his family. So good job.
Okay, so congratulations to the officers, February Officers of the Month, April Officers of the Month. Next item on the agenda, Operations Report, Patrol Staffing and Selective Enforcement. Chief Walsh.
Good afternoon. For February 2020, we had 178 sworn personnel, 1 vacancy. For February, workman's comp days were 76.5, used by a total of 112 operations personnel. 3 officers are still on extended workman's comp. Sick days used by police personnel was 207. In the month of February, there was only 2 car burglaries. Detectives made a significant impact, making several arrests of juveniles responsible for many of the car burglaries that are occurring overnight. We're finding out that it's 2 or 3 of them, and they're primarily responsible for a large percentage of those. They also arrested 2 individuals for the robbery of the Chick-fil-A restaurant that occurred earlier this winter. An armed robbery that occurred at Chick-fil-A on Connecticut Avenue. They work with agencies out of state, and they were able to apprehend 2 individuals that committed that armed robbery. Special services activity still remained active for February. They had a significant case. They arrested 3 livery drivers for delivery of 40 bags of fentanyl to a local hotel, cocaine and other prescription pills. The Selective Enforcement Report, our traffic unit remained active for February. They issued 128 citations, moving citations. They also installed the speed analytical sign on Heather Road. I know that there's some concerns about speeding, so we put a speed sign on there, and we've determined that there wasn't a significant speeding issue. I think the average speed was like 22 miles per hour. It was there for 6 days. So they did some enforcement in that area. They gave out 5 infractions and 6 verbal warnings in the area of Strawberry Hill and Heather and Rome area. We determined that there wasn't a significant speeding issue affecting that condition. Patrol division calls for service were 4,044 for February. We still remained active. And in total for the police department in February, there was 297 infractions issued, mostly for traveling too fast, speeding, DUI. We had 8 arrests, which is a significant number. And activity still was up for the month of February.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Chief. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, thank you. Administrative report, Deputy Chief Zecca. You're muted.
Help if I unmuted, huh? Okay, so February, the main item of note is we did the Blue Line shooting trailer which is a decision-making use of force scenario, which put the bulk of the officers through. We had it for about a week. And it's much more realistic training than a lot of what we're able to do in the range. So that was phenomenal. Additionally, we had the EMR training, their annual, many of them went through their annual research. I'm sorry, it's not annual, it's every 2 or 3 years, they have to research. That's their medical training. In March, we additionally had some more medical training, and we started to do some more online training in March. And then also in April with everything that's going on. So we did some legal updates training all online, and our NCIC recertification training. That has also gone online, which is great. So we were able to provide that training going forward, even in with the physical distancing that we need to do. And for April, we've started training all of the officers in the CISS system, which is the Connecticut Information Sharing System, which will assist in investigations. So we're able to get people through that. Also more NCIC recertifications, and then training all of the department, doing some review credit in search and seizure laws. And that's all been online.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? Comments?
None for me.
Okay. Now we're at personnel matters. Chief? I don't have any of the documentation. I don't know if the other commissioners have it. For some
I
reason,
don't have any.
What's that?
regarding the tuition reimbursements.
I emailed you another copy of the agenda.
Who, me? Are you
Yes.
talking to me? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
apparently the original copy that went out, it didn't kick back, but I think it was too big for the email account with all the attachments.
Oh, okay.
So you should have the agenda that's just the cover page. You know, just the agenda itself
Yeah.
without the backup.
So without the tuition reimbursement information. So you'll look at it and give us, okay, you're going to share our screen here? Okay, so tuition reimbursement for Deputy Chief Zecca.
Yep, that one, 50% as normal. The course was approved in July of last year. So it's a total of $1,664.
That's the reimbursement amount?
Correct.
Okay.
Half of the 3328.
And the course was?
Victimization and justice.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Well, let me have a motion from one of the commissioners.
I move tuition reimbursement in that amount for Deputy Chief Zecca.
Okay, Commissioner Collier Clemens moves. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, Commissioner Stranidi,
Aye.
Commissioner Collier Clemens,
Aye.
Mayor Rilling, aye. Chief, tuition reimbursement for Sergeant Ryan Everts.
Yeah, the next one is he's going for his master's. This is for public policy and law. It was approved in February at the last meeting, and it's half of the 2890, so it's $1,445.
Okay, need a motion?
I move tuition reimbursement for Sergeant Ryan Everts in the amount stated.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Commissioner
Aye.
Stranidi, Commissioner Collier Clemens,
Aye.
and Mayor Rilling, aye. Okay. Tuition reimbursement Officer Edgar Gonzalez.
Yep, this is for his master's degree in criminal justice. The course was strategic communications in the digital age. half of $29.35. So it's $1,467.50.
Motioned.
I move reimbursement for Officer Edgar Gonzalez in the amount stated.
Okay, and questions, comments? Seeing none. Commissioner Stranidi. I think she muted. Maybe that was her dog.
I think it was.
Commissioner Collier Clemens
Aye.
Aye.
and Commissioner Stranidi.
Aye. Sorry about
Mayor
that. Yeah.
Rowling, aye. All right, tuition reimbursement for Officer Daniel Vasquez.
Yep, this one is for his master's degree in public administration. The course was disaster operations and response, half of $28.90, so $1,445 from Sacred Heart.
Okay, and I need a motion.
I'll move the item for approval.
Commissioner Stranidi moves. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Commissioner
Aye.
Collier Clemens, Commissioner Stranidi,
Aye.
and Mayor Rilling, aye. Next item, a master's degree annual stipend, Sergeant David Orr.
Yep, he completed his master's degree, and he's requesting the contractual stipend of $1,100 added to his base salary.
I need a motion.
I'll move the item.
Moved by Commissioner Stranidi. Questions, comments?
I just, that stipend is annual. He gets it every year now that he has his master's. Is that correct?
Correct. It's actually added to your pay. It becomes part of your base pay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Any
Just
further
clarify.
comments or discussion? I'm sorry, go ahead.
It was just clarification, that's all.
Well, first of all, my congratulations to Sergeant Orr on achieving his master's degree. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Commissioner Stranidi,
Aye.
Commissioner Collier Clemens,
Aye.
Mayor Rilling, aye. Again, motion carries. Congratulations. Next item, course approval, Lieutenant Jared Zwickler.
He's completing his master's degree at John Jay College in public administration, and he's requesting approval for the course ethics, integrity, and accountability.
That certainly seems like it fits within the criteria. I need a motion.
I move approval, course approval.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Commissioner Stranidi,
Aye.
Commissioner Collier Clemens,
Aye.
and Mayor Rilling, aye. Course approval approved. Course approval for Sergeant Ryan Evarts.
He's going for his master's in public administration at Sacred Heart, requesting approval for the course Communications in Crisis Management.
Motion,
Approval for course as stated for Sergeant Everts.
okay, Commissioner Collier Clemens moves it. Further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, Commissioner Stranidi,
Aye.
Commissioner Collier Clemens,
Aye.
Mayor Rilling, aye. It's approved. Course approval for Edgar Gonzalez.
He is going for his master's in, let me see, criminal justice. He's at Sacred Heart, and he's requesting approval for two courses, victimology and capital punishment.
Okay, need a motion.
I'll move the item.
Commissioner Stranidi moves the item. Any further discussion or comment? Seeing none, all in favor, Commissioner Collier Clemens,
Aye.
Commissioner Stranidi,
Aye.
Mayor Rilling, aye. Next item, course approval for Daniel Vasquez. I need a motion.
I move approval for Daniel Vasquez.
And Chief?
Okay, this is for his master's in public administration, a Sacred Heart, and he's requesting approval for for disaster and response and recovery and communication and crisis management. And I think that's, yeah, those two courses.
So 2 courses for Daniel Vasquez. Okay, it was moved by Commissioner Collier Clemens. Any further discussion? Commissioner Stroniti,
Aye.
Commissioner Collier Clemens,
Aye.
Mayor Rilling, aye. Course approval for Daniel Vasquez for the 2 courses mentioned. Informational items, complimentary letters, Chief.
Yep, there's several here. Just first is Officer Gonzalez, who's the school resource officer at Brian McMahon. This goes back a little bit, but he helped them investigating a complaint regarding some possible gang activity. He ended up determining that that was not the case, but he went above and beyond, and the school appreciated his efforts in quickly responding to their information and clarifying what was going on there. The second one is from Reverend Mann, who contacted me. She had a relative that's still here in Norwalk, and she was grateful for Jay and one of the dispatchers, and Officer Carl Williams and Officer Holmes. One of her relatives had their electricity turned off. They were without heat, and they were in a tough situation. Dealing with the officers and dispatch, they were able to get her assistance and get them into the Norwalk Inn. And she just wanted to compliment Jay, the dispatcher, as well as the officers. They ended up checking in on him later to make sure everything was okay. Let's see. The next one is for Officer Abra. He gets a lot of these. The school loves him there for his work, even during the pandemic situation. He's been doing a lot of outreach with the youth, and they want to acknowledge his efforts that came from one of the families that he delivered books to. This was just a generic letter I got from a resident concerning the police during the first responders during the crisis, just saying thank you. Another that somebody acknowledged Officer Daly pushing a car off the road and contacted us with a photo of that. We didn't know about it, obviously, but we knew once they took a photo and sent it to us, and thanked him for that. Another letter for Officer Abra, again, for going above and beyond his efforts with the school kids. And then we got several letters from residents who attend Fairfield Prep, thanking the police for their efforts during this time. In fact, we got, I think, four or five from different students at Fairfield Prep. And finally, a generic letter went to the police, Norwalk ER, and EMT staff concerning a call that they all responded to and helped a family that had a medical emergency. And they wrote a nice thank you letter to the hospital, to the EMS, and also to the officers who responded there. And that is all of them so far.
Oh, great. Lots of nice letters. It's always nice when people take the time to write, because we know sometimes if somebody's upset, they'll certainly write a letter explaining they're upset. But it's always nice when we get letters on the other side as well. And I know our police officers are out there day in and day out working very, very hard at a very, very difficult job. I find them to be dedicated, polite, conscientious, and willing to do whatever is necessary to keep our community safe. So Commissioner Collier Clemens or Commissioner Stroniti, any comments?
It's always really good to hear how, the persons that are being helped will send a letter in to let the chief and let the officer who helped them know that they appreciate it, because they really don't have to do it, but it really does reflect well on our police department.
Yes. Commissioner Stranidi?
Sure, I just add, in same spirit, that it is nice to hear people in the community recognizing this. It's the things that I see when I'm out and about in the community, interacting with our officers and everything, and in the department there. So it's just nice that people actually take the time to do that. So I'm glad to hear it. Thanks, and good job to our department.
Yeah, exactly. And I also like to just make note of the tuition reimbursements, the master's degree by Sergeant Orr, and the course approvals that we just approved. Our police officers are taking the time to educate themselves to enable them to perform their duties with greater knowledge, greater experience, and it's quite impressive the level of education that the members of our police department have or will have based on committing themselves to their chosen profession. So I don't know if either of the commissioners want to make note of that as well.
Yeah, I thank you, Mayor. I would like to say, especially to Sergeant Orr, that about getting the master's degree, and everybody that's working on it that hasn't, you know, I myself got one in 2018. I graduated with a master's in December 2018, and I know what it's like to work full time and to go to school, and that level of commitment and that level of coursework is not, you know, it's above and beyond. The requirements are much more demanding, and so I wanted to say thank you to all the officers, all the members of our department who are doing that. It's not an easy task, but it's well worth it. And I'm grateful that we have a department that has people that want to, you know, go above and beyond and further their education so that they could see the best that they can in the job that they do for our community. So thank you. Good work, hard work and good work. Keep it up.
Okay, if there's no further discussion or comment, the next meeting is June 15th, is it, Chief?
Let me see. I don't have my front page.
Yes, I believe it's June 15th.
And what we will do instead of emailing, since we had the trouble with the email because the packet was large, we'll have them dropped off again.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that'll be better.
so June 15th is the next meeting. Again, perhaps we'll be able to meet in person, but if not, well, we're going to Zoom in. So motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
good night.